79570 is the number, and we're talking about Ricky Pearsall, who the 49ers drafted. What about this? And I was just thinking about this, listening to Bill Belichick. But if it's true that the 49ers are the team that most asks their receivers to block, then don't you need a lot of them? Because they are they play more physically than other wide receivers in the league, because they're asked to do things that are more physical than other receivers are asked to do. And so because of that, the price they pay might be on the injury front, and that's why they address depth at the wide receiver position, because they do ask their receivers to do more than just catch balls.
Yeah, I'm not saying Jennings blocks well.
That's a great point.
So does Deebo, but nah, Steiny. There's something I heard Jennifer. She doesn't think it's going to happen. Some people would say Deebo's not the greatest blocker, and you too. I just think something's imminent, man.
Yeah, now you're feeling frisky, and I'm going to tell people why you're feeling frisky.
What?
I'm going to tell people.
Now, I told you about snitching, but that's not the reason.
My main man Dan Dibley comes in here,
D-double,
today and says, Steiny, I still think they're going to trade one of these guys. And I said, what? You think? And he said, yeah, and he cited the 21 and 22 personnel that they go to.
And the Mike Silver tweet.
Yeah. So Dibs thinks one of them still may be, and most likely it'll be Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. And Buffalo, to our caller's point, if he hits that caller, forget his name, call us Monday to take your victory lap.
Buffalo's got the first pick in the second round, 33rd pick. Would the 49ers trade Brandon Aiyuk to Buffalo for the 33rd pick?
Or Deebo Samuel.
Yes, yeah. Or Deebo Samuel. Yeah. I don't know. Benji's in Irvine. What's up, Benji? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, after, the culture shock wore off, it took a moment, but I keep forgetting. I get excited, the hype. There's no football, so I'm grabbing on to anything I can get. And I keep forgetting we're masters of the third and fifth round. Who actually cares about the first round other than the fifth-year extension?
Well, I mean,
that's how he's feeling.
But it's their first round pick in 3 years, so that makes it a little more special, I would think, right? And then you have a first round pick because of the Trey Lance.
Yeah, but you look at the history of the draft, Tom Brady. The diamonds in the rough. You find them today, right?
You know what? I forgot to ask Jennifer Lee Chan about Brock Purdy and his muscles.
Oh yeah,
he's getting very strong.
Yeah, thickums. And what about when I see you Monday, Steiny, there'll be a new linebacker on the Niners, right? You got to think with what's going on with Greenlaw and his recovery. I mean, that's a big deal.
They'll have more than one offensive lineman.
How many picks did you say they have?
They have nine more left.
Damn. Okay. So you got that's a lot.
9 more left. Let me ask 49er fans a simple question. When the 49ers selected Ricky Pearsall, what did you think it meant, if anything, for Deebo Samuel or Brandon Aiyuk? Did they bring this guy in to be a third wide receiver as a rookie, learn the system, and then figure out what they're going to do at that position in a year? Or do you look at I just don't believe they're going to start a rookie wide receiver. I don't. I do not believe that they're going to go into this season starting
what if
a
Jennings
rookie
got
wide receiver.
that assignment, and then he still was in the slot, and we saw more 3 wide. I just think he's going to be a part of this team moving forward, and how fast, if he's smart, Steiny, because they said he was smart, how fast he can pick it up. He's with his old former teammate, and Brandon Aiyuk, if this pops off. But this is my takeaway. When I heard that pick, the position, I said, okay, one of the two are gone. I still think that until we find out tonight what pops off. But if not, my bigger takeaway is the Niners looked at themselves in the mirror, Kyle, and said, we have to get more explosive. I can't think of 2 wide receivers that complement each other that are vastly different than Brandon Aiyuk and what he does, the more traditional type of receiver, and then the Swiss Army knife that is Deebo. But damn, Steiny, we forget it's not just them. They got a hell of a tight end. And his name is George Kittle. But you know what he's doing a lot of the times? He's held back because he's blocking and helping that O-line. And if Jennifer says this draft doesn't have a lot of, like, O-linemen, good O-linemen, then I'm thinking, like, man, how much can they remedy? How much can they fix, that offensive line at guard or center? But, Steiny, today's a big day.
Why?
Buffalo picks first, and if there's smoke and that's who needs the playmaker, then we could be driving home or wherever we're at, watering hole. I mean, fireworks could be going off.
Listen to what Steve Smith said, former Carolina Panthers receiver, on Pearsall.
Stop calling him Ricky Pearsall and call him what his real name is. Slick Rick is what they call him. Great vision, stands out. He knows exactly where he needs to be. Played with 3 different quarterbacks with 3 different styles of play. He's the go-to guy. His ability to adjust will be required in the services in the National Football League.
Hey, he feels like he can hit the ground running, Steiny.
Sounds to me like he's better than Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel right now.
I'll give you 1.
I'm just saying. Yeah. He speaks very highly of him, Steve Smith. But I don't know. I do think
Jennifer did, again, real quick, Steiny, mention his speed. So I believe he's faster than both of them. And I know Deebo gets fast once he builds that speed up. Aiyuk is not slow, but man.
888-957-9570 is the number. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver out of Florida, selected by the San Francisco 49ers. And I guess the question now becomes, are they still considering trading one of their existing receivers? It looks, I think, if we're reading tea leaves at 888-957-9570, it appears that Deebo Samuel might be more likely to be moved if they move either of the guys, but could they move Aiyuk for the 33rd pick, which is the number 1 pick in day 2 of the draft today by the Buffalo Bills?
And maybe that's when you go get your corner, or what did Jennifer mention, or your secondary help, whatever they choose to do. But man, I'll say this, Donnie, and it might not be fair, but I can do it because we got till 2. Let's just say we've seen Deebo Samuel's last game as a 49er. You got your ROI, your return on investment. Dude gave all of it to you. We saw him on the frozen tundra in the playoff game, do what he did against the Packers. We saw him beat the Cowboys a couple times in the offs. So, I mean, if you think you want to go away from that, or that has kind of run its course, we'll see. But I do get excited because if they've added something to Aiyuk and Deebo, and this kid is all that and some, then Brock Purdy and the Niners, that offense as a whole is going to take it to the next level.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Dan Dibley expecting something may still occur today. I think you think it might.
I came in feeling that way.
Yeah, you did.
You make some good points.
And it's fair that you started to come around. I get it. You started to come around to my way of thinking and Jennifer's way of thinking.
But
I'll tell you what,
Silver's the big boy. That's the one, that tweet, Steiny.
Dibley's bigger than Silver.
Silver's tapped in. Dibley's here with us every day.
There's nobody that can talk about personnel.
I appreciate that.
There's nobody that can talk about personnel like Dibley.
Oh, I get that. Him and Lonell.
He just does not think there's room for this guy.
But talking personnel and getting info and rumors is different. Mike Silver's tapped in. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And so is... I know
it's what you're not saying. And I'll tell you what.
I don't know I'm just telling you this man's job. He's got relationships, Steiny.
And I'm just telling you that at 2 o'clock when we do What's Bugging You.
Yeah. Oh, I
think Dibley's going to come down your road for the disrespect.
No, stop.
He learned the football trade from a guy named Lorenzo Neal. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I'm talking about sources.
He has those.
Oh, see, all right.
He just doesn't fake them.
He's not on the beat.
Yeah, he's better than on the beat. He's better than on the beat.
Look at you.
Let's go to Lori in Phoenix, one of our favorites. Hey, Lori, how are you?
She'll tell the truth now.
Lori. Oh, boy.
What about, real quick, about Phoenix, Arizona?
What about
Kyler Murray, healthy?
Kyler Murray.
Marvin Harrison.
Right.
Dude, that's scary for the Niners. You better get some secondary help.
There's still the great unknown of any rookie coming into this league.
That dude
I'm just saying.
Automatic, it looks like.
Kenny is in Concord. What's up, Ken? How you doing, man? Steve Smith Sr., fine. Whatever. Hey, Ken, how you doing?
I think that the pick, it was needed because every time Deebo gets hurt, the offense don't click, and we haven't had a guy since Jerry Rice Jerry Rice, it wasn't a speed, but when you have speed, that puts the fear in the secondaries. And the guys that we had, they weren't polished speed guys. And now when Deebo gets hurt or Aiyuk gets hurt, that the offense will still click.
That's one way to look at it. A little bit of an insurance
I guess,
policy.
Donnie, I'm not mad at him, but I don't ever want to waste a first-round pick because one of my studs has an injury history. You know,
well,
the guy go.
But they didn't waste a pick because the caller thinks he's going to be Jerry Rice or somebody like him. He's very precise.
Yeah, Niners have
he's
had some misses at the wide receiver position. Shout out Dante Pettis. Remember him?
That was that Harbaugh?
No, that was
these guys. Was it these guys? Lori's in Phoenix. She's back. Hey, Lori.
Guys.
Hey, what's going on?
So I just kind of wanted to, give my opinion on this whole thing. I think it's so funny how we get so excited for the draft and then one pick in, everybody's freaking out. I mean, obviously it was a surprise that that's the pick that they went with, but to me, obviously Kyle and John both, Kyle, I'd say more, saw something in this guy that they felt like they couldn't live without. I don't have a problem with that because he's going to be they're building a roster around players that they want. They're very particular about high character guys. This guy scored like a 98.6 at athleticism, which was probably the top of all the receivers in the draft, but two of the top ones didn't test. But that to me is big. I think to me, part of the thing is that with Ray, I didn't like Ray's reaction after that fumble in the Super Bowl. He seemed to kind of be nilly-willy about it, being like, player's going to play, I'm going to take my shot. He didn't take any responsibility for it. Whereas when CMC fumbled, the guy couldn't sleep for 3 days. So I think it's important that you have every position there, and they do need to address that punt returner. Now, do they need a cornerback more? I don't know. Maybe there was a better guy there, but we don't know how any of these guys are going to play out. To me, I'm not going to make a judgment until I actually see the guy take the field and play some football. I want to see how he fits what Shanahan wants to do. He's a player that they held in high regard. So just because he went high and nobody thought he was going to go high doesn't mean he's going to be a Dante Pettis. Just because Dante Pettis was a high pick and he didn't work out, that has nothing to do with how this guy's going to fit in this offense. I like the pick. I like what I'm seeing about him, so I guess we'll just wait and see what happens.
Lori, let me ask you this before you go. If Deebo or Aiyuk is moved, how would you feel? Would you be sad?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'd much rather. I can't imagine that they are going to do that unless they know they're at an impasse with Aiyuk. I want to see them all stay. I think you're probably going to have to cut ties with one of them, and I would say Deebo's probably going to be the one, but I don't see that happening until after the next offseason.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lori.
Good call.
I'm with you on most of that. Thank you very much for the call. 2018, it was the Dante Pettis was a second-round pick, 44th pick overall in 2018.
Yeah, 19
which was
is when it went all
second,
bad.
which was the second draft of Shanahan and John Lynch. Yeah. So there you have it. 888-957-9570 is the number, and it's an interesting day. Absolutely interesting day. The 49ers take a wide receiver.
And we both can admit right now, and the listeners,
we'll see.
If they do pull off this trade, Monday we'll both look at each other and say this is a gutsy move by a team that's on the cusp of trying to get back to the Super Bowl and hoist up that Lombardi, Steiny. Whatever and whoever they allow to take over, whoever would be moved, it would be gutsy. Because now I'm thinking the big three, and I'm throwing the rookie in there, but we got Jennings. Obviously, he'll get a crack at it before. But, Steiny, I don't see you trying to avenge a Super Bowl loss by sending one of these dudes away in Aiyuk or Samuel.
I mean, just to argue against myself on this one, but if it's true that the 49ers, Shanahan and Lynch, don't think those receivers, for whatever reason, got enough separation.
PFF said they didn't in the Super Bowl. I beg to differ, but man.
Well, then maybe they think this guy can come in right away and get more separation. I mean, if that's the case, then is it within the realm of possibility that this guy, Ricky Pearsall, could be better than Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel? That defies.
Well, that answer will be revealed if one of them is traded, Steiny. The answer would be yes to that then.
Well, and I'll agree with you. If they trade Brandon Aiyuk
now
for the 33rd pick today, and they're going to head into the season with Deebo Samuel and Ricky Pearsall, Yeah, I would say that's kind of gutsy. What would 49er fans think of that at 888-957-9570? Let's go out to Jamie in San Carlos. Hey, Jamie, how you doing?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
All right, so I'm kind of on the same boat as you guys about this pick, Ricky P, but I don't know if you guys know Christian Watson, who plays on the Packers, right?
A baller.
His dad's on Twitter, and he's pretty good with NFL picks. I just got off of Twitter with him. He told me that pick, the Niners got a dog, basically a bigger, faster Steve Smith.
A good dog.
Wow. D-A-G,
a
W-G,
good dog, not
like
a bad
Draymond.
dog, right?
Yes, row.
Yeah, shout out to Q's.
I mean, hey, man, if they got a bigger, faster Steve Smith, that's a hell of a pick.
Yes.
And Steve was loving him. We heard Steve earlier, Steiny.
All right. Hey, appreciate it, Jamie in San Carlos.
Damn. I'm just saying, if the Niners feel the way, and obviously they do like Steve does, then if you part ways with a commodity that you think is, baffling to some, but you got this guy you think and can do it, why would you pay Aiyuk? Or you got to cut bait somewhere.
Well,
and Deebo seems like to be the one. Now you got 2 Arizona State Sun Devils.
I mean, the one thing
as your receivers.
The one thing we haven't talked about is what if he did make a mistake? What if Pearsall wasn't on a lot of first round mock drafts?
Brock Purdy,
but he was.
Purdy
no, I'm talking Trey Lance.
Oh.
Maybe they just think he's a wide receiver version of Trey Lance. And what I mean by that is maybe that's how much they covet this guy. Maybe Kyle Shanahan somewhere in his mind thought that even though Trey Lance hadn't gotten a lot of experience, that he knew more than anybody else and was going to be able to turn Trey Lance into a great quarterback.
Right.
That didn't happen. Well, what if the thinking with this kid is the exact same? He thinks he's going to be great. He thinks he might be already somebody who can step in and be a wide receiver for their team. And there won't be any slippage between Pearsall and the other 2 receivers. I don't know.